Good day, traders. I hope everyone had a great long weekend. We are back with another market rundown today, covering 10 markets in under 10 minutes. Today, we will also be looking at Ethereum, which recently saw new all-time highs. So let's get this table rolling and I will see you back in the charts. We start by looking at the US dollar to South African rand. We can see after a brief test of that daily 100 SMA last week, price then got rejected and it's currently retesting horizontal support at about 1464. Overall price and trend is still down, so it would not be unlikely for price to move down into further support or deeper support at about the 1453 level. And of course, we also have that monthly S1 at 1438. And if we look to the left, we can see previously from this level, we have found the buyers to step in and drive price higher. The swing level is at about 1498. That is the monthly pivot as well as that daily 100 SMA again. And if price can break above that, I suspect we can retest upper resistance near the monthly R1 at 1535. Moving on now to the EURUSD. The EURUSD last week reached our head and shoulders target, but at this stage appears to still move further down, and I see there is some additional support from that level at about 1.603. That is just above our monthly S1 and just below the weekly S3. However, if price can move higher and take out that lows from last week, I suspect we will see a retest of the daily 200 SMA near 1.187, with a break above that level, seeing price move into this resistance zone between the 50 and 100 SMAs near 1.200. Looking now at the GBPUSD, we see that price has now, instead of moving lower to that head and shoulders target, it has now broken above the initial or interim diagonal resistance, and it's currently facing resistance from that 50 daily SMA as well as that weekly R1, and that is at about 1.387. If price can continue higher, I suspect we'll see another retest of the upper boundary of that right shoulder. That is sitting at about 1.397, which is also a monthly R1. A break above that will then see the head and shoulders pattern invalidated and a move towards that failed head and shoulders target at 1.439 will commence. There is some support, as you can see at the bottom end of that support zone, also at the daily 100 SMA. That would be at about 1.364, with the head and shoulders target remaining unchanged at 1.347. Looking now at the Australian dollar USD, it does seem that price is now finding some support from this daily 100 SMA. Also looking at the weekly pivot, we can see that price is finding some support from this level. This is at 0.760. If we can break above the weekly pivot, the monthly pivot as well as that monthly weekly R1, we have a swing level at about 0.77. That will either act as overhead resistance, forcing price back down, or if price can break back above that level, I suspect we will test that upper boundary of this resistance zone at about 0.780, which is the weekly R3 pivot. Another swing level to the downside would be at about 0.753. A break below that would probably see price test that daily 200 SMA near the monthly S2 at about 0.738. Looking now at the NASDAQ 100, we can see that the overall trend is still up and bullish. We have broken above the highs from last week as well as the week before that, and it appears that we are seeing a breakout now to the upside. That initial swing level would be at a monthly R1 pivot level at 13,550. If price can get above that, I suspect we will see price move even higher towards that support level, the overhead resistance level at 14,000. However, if price gets rejected near this swing level, it will likely drive price down and into the support level, which is the daily 100 SMA and monthly pivot at 12,870. A failure of that level will see price retest the lower end of the support zone near the monthly S1 at 12,400. Looking at the US50, we can see that bullish price continuation and trend is continuing as well on this index. I do reckon that it's possible that we will see price push higher towards this overhead diagonal, as well as that horizontal support near the monthly R1 and weekly R3, that is at 34,000. I have a swing level sitting just below that diagonal support at 33,000, with a break below that, likely seeing a sell-off and test of support in this support zone near the monthly S1 and daily 100 SMA at about 31,300. Moving on now to the German DAX. The German DAX is entering what I would say cautious territory in terms of it seems to be a little bit overstretched and overcooked at this stage. However, the trend is still up, and there's no point in trying to fight against the trend. I have resistance levels at about 15,232 as well as 15,400, which would be the monthly R1, and any bullish moves above that would be very cautious. As you can see, I have put a cautious sign there, so just remain careful. Any breakdown will likely see price retest the support at the weekly and monthly pivots, both at about 14,600. A break below that will see a retest of support at about 14,200. That is the monthly S1, as well as where price will meet up with that 50 daily SMA. Moving on now to gold. If we look at gold, we can see that price has found some support from that purple diagonal, which is the long-term trend. It does appear to resemble a double bottom at this stage. However, it's not unlikely that we can see price come down to retest that level again. So I have support at 1,690. The swing level is sitting at about our monthly R1, coinciding with that daily 50 SMA at about 1,750. A break above that will then see us test that overhead diagonal near the weekly R2 at 1,777. A break above that possibly then setting up that new bullish trend. So let's just keep an eye on price action to see what happens there. Moving on now to Bitcoin. Bitcoin still consolidating. We can see that it's struggling with that current or new weekly pivot. So for now, we are still range bound with support or interim support at least at this monthly pivot near 55,250. And so overhead resistance as well as the swing level will be at about 60,500. A break above that will then test overhead resistance at 65,900, or we can actually perhaps round that up to about 66,000. But be careful, as we also have that big overhead major resistance with the yearly R3 pivot. Just considering that swing level at 50,200 about, that's the weekly S3. If price were to break below that, I suspect we will see that test of that daily 100 SMA near the yearly R2 at 56,000. Just quickly and briefly having a look at Ethereum as well, we can see that Ethereum has made new all-time highs, with price now currently facing strong overhead resistance from the monthly R1, and that is at 2,075. If price can break above that level and take out that high, I suspect it will push higher towards resistance at the monthly R2 at 2,300. However, if it does fail, it will probably retest that the breakout level close to, I'd say, about 1,860. That concludes our technical market overview for the week. Please remember to subscribe, as we will aim to bring you a fresh analysis each week. Until next time, this is John Jacobs for RMD Trader. Trade smart and trade successful.